The Agenda with Michael Knight on News Radio 560 KPQ and KPQ.com.
At 1:35, this is News Radio 560 KPQ. I'm Michael Knight. Our special guest, Craig Larson, Business Development Director for the Port of Chelan and the Pangborn Airport, and someone we haven't met before, Tina Stadther, also from the Pangborn Airport. Tina, welcome for the first time. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me. Nice to meet you.
It's my pleasure. And Craig, welcome back.
It's great to be here.
I guess there's some sort of an event coming up this weekend. Is it your birthday or what's the...
No, that's already happened this year, but thank you for asking.
Well, happy birthday. Happy many returns of the day.
It's better than the alternative, so
Did you get that ugly tie we sent over?
Yes, I did. Thank you very much.
Don't ever wear it anywhere.
I'm regifting it back to you on your birthday.
I expected.
I hate to break the surprise.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Well, but there's something to celebrate at the Pangborn Airport this weekend.
Yeah, it's Aviation Day, which
is it this weekend or next weekend?
It is this weekend. It's Saturday from 9 to 3. And we have a lot of festivities coming up ahead of time. Tomorrow, the Historic Flight Foundation brings their DC-3.
Wow.
Which is 1944.
They're going to fly it around the city before they land?
Yes. In fact, they're going to do a media flight at 11, so it will be flying around.
Rats.
Are you busy?
Yes, as it turns out, I am. But that's okay. We'll try and send somebody else. Maybe Dave Bernstein will go.
Yes, that would be fantastic.
When does the immediate flight take off?
At 11 a.m., and I'll give you the details before I leave.
Okay, and do you bring all those reporters back, or do you just take them to a neutral location?
They'll bring you back.
Okay.
They're also, we just found out, bringing over their P-51 Mustang, which is also a really cool aircraft, and both aircraft have a really interesting history.
Well, let's go back to the DC and talk about that history.
So it originally started out belonging to the China National Aviation Company, but it was eventually sold to Johnson & Johnson. They used it as their VIP aircraft.
Really?
So I kind of think, the interior is still decked out that way. Kind of like think Mad Men.
So it's a corporate prop jet.
Yes. It's got room for 12, and it still has some of the original Johnson & Johnson memorabilia, and we're really excited to see it.
So it's not their jet anymore. It's not their plane, I should say.
No,
it's not a jet.
It belongs to the Historic Flight Foundation.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many DC-3s are there around?
That's a good question.
There are some.
No.
That's not important.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about the P-51. That was a training plane or what?
Yeah, it actually served in World War II and also the Korean War. And then there's some interesting history. I'm anxious to talk to them a little bit more about it. Apparently, it crash landed in a beet field in Britain.
A beet field?
A beet field.
That is so poetic.
Right? And it was undiscovered for 50 years. So, yeah, I'm excited to hear more.
I guess the beet farmer didn't get out to the back 40 very often.
I guess not.
We'll get the rest of the story at Aviation Day this weekend.
And you can see the plane, plus because it's obviously been restored.
Yep. Tours are free on Aviation Day, so they'll be bringing people inside and showing it off. And they are selling rides all throughout the rest of this week.
So you can ride on the DC-3 and ride in the P-51?
Not the P-51, but the DC-3. It is $295 a person.
And the P-51 is a single-seater. So getting a ride in that, you've got to be a pilot. It leaves Friday in any event, but you can go up and tour it Wednesday afternoon through Friday. Tour both aircraft at the General Aviation hangar if you can't get up over the weekend on Saturday, or if you want to go see those on this week and then go up Saturday for the rest of Aviation Day.
How many people do you expect to visit you on the Aviation Day?
I think last year's count was somewhere around 3,000. So, yeah. It's a pretty big community
That's an impressive
event.
number.
Yeah.
Plus, people who really love planes love them unconditionally. They have to see it, right?
Right. And it's our one chance of the year that we get to open up the airport, for people to come and enjoy. It's their community airport.
Will there be regular flights coming in and out?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. In fact, we're hoping that people fly in with cool aircraft from other areas, and we're also hoping that our general aviation population brings some aircraft to display as well.
So it's kind of like an airfare.
It is. It's a fly-in, and
Now, Aviation Day, is that a national holiday? Is that something that everybody's celebrating, or is this just a local color?
It is local. Pretty much every airport across the country has some sort of Aviation Day fly-in community event.
What about the airport? You love that airport?
I love the airport.
Because, it's got it's a It can be a very busy place sometimes. It can be totally deserted sometimes. But when you got to get to someplace, get me to Pangborn.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that airport in your neighborhood.
We kind of like it. Yeah.
How did you get into the aviation world?
I actually started at the airport 16 years ago as the administrative assistant, and I found a real passion for the aviation industry. And so I've done a lot of different jobs there and worn a lot of different hats. We all do.
I went through the TSA line there once, and somebody said, "Oh, I listen to KPQ," and he gave me a quiz because it was like, "Who's in the news in the morning?" Big TSA guy said, "Here's a question for you. What's the da-da-da?" And I missed it, but he let me on the plane anyway. So.
I thought you were going to go with the enhanced screening story.
Yeah.
KPQ News.
I've had that. I've had that too.
Oh, okay.
I really got enhanced once. My wife. Well, here's the weird thing. My wife booked my flight in her name and my name. One ticket, two names. No, they didn't go for that.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't go for that. And in Denver, they sent me back to the front desk to get reticketed. That took forever. And then they remembered me when I came back, and that's when I got enhanced. But it was I got on the plane they were just being extra safe, saying, "I'm sorry, but you can't have two names. You got to pick one, and it's not going to be Kristen, so go get yourself another ticket." Let's talk about what's going on at the airport in terms of those extra flights. I wondered if the flights were going to be still going during the aviation celebration, and they are. But I forgot there's an extra flight now one more than there used to be.
There is, starting on May 20th and running through the end of August. Alaska has put four flights a day into the schedule, which we're very happy and excited about, and folks are using it. And consequently, May, which just had about a third of the month of May, we had the extra flight that started May 20th. We had a nice bump up in ridership at the airport that month, and we expect to see that here throughout the summer.
Some folks fly out of Pangborn all the time, and some maybe never have that listen to the show. Are the flights full?
You know, I was doing the numbers. The overall load factor, which is a percentage of seats full for the year, including through May, is about 76%. Depends on the flight. If you're I flew out here for work a couple weeks ago. 6 a.m. flight going out is always full or nearly full, and the midnight flight coming back, same thing. The midday flights, little more chance to get a few extra empty seats in the plane, but we're trying to fill those up as best we can.
I know we have this big plot to do daily flights to San Francisco, and we'll get to that. But we couldn't think in terms of growth like that if there wasn't a healthy airport. Would you say that in terms of the size of the Pangborn Airport, giving a comparison to some other airport of the similar size, that we are a healthy going concern?
So I think we are a growing regional airport. The runway extension was huge for that, and that got done a couple of years ago, and that puts us in a great spot for decades to come.
It seems kind of obvious, but why was that necessary?
Well, just the to land to get for safety for the current aircraft that are serving the airport, and open us up for larger aircraft like a regional jet flying to the Bay Area, for instance. Needed that extra runway length for the bigger, heavier, faster aircraft.
Now let's talk about the future a little bit. And I know we haven't come to a final decision on this, or the parties involved haven't decided. But where are we in terms of the waiting game for those flights to perhaps start to San Francisco or elsewhere?
We are right in the middle of the waiting game still, unfortunately. Just to review, we raised a bunch of pledges here locally. Our community did a great job. $400,000
really did. That happens so much faster than I thought it would.
That happened. That's great. The community did its part. The airport has, with the help of a consultant, put in a very strong grant application to the federal government, and that went in October, if I remember right. It's been so long. October 15th.
So long.
And we've been waiting a decision from the U.S. Department of Transportation about grant award. There's more requests for funds than funds available, so it's competitive. But we've got a strong application in. During that time, the airport has continued to meet with potential airlines that would fly a direct route to the San Francisco Bay Area. So some of those initial conversations have happened, and now we're waiting on the grant decision. If we get the grant, then immediately get back to those airlines and talk to them. We've got the grant. Let's talk about getting a once daily direct service from here to the Bay Area, and see if we can get an airline to go for that with the revenue guarantee to backstop their investment in this route, and hopefully off we go with a new flight in 2019.
And Craig, the interesting thing is the airline that agrees to this really doesn't take a financial chance, does it?
I think I'm not the financial expert on airport economics, but
aren't they guaranteed a certain fee?
They're guaranteed that's the contract that would get negotiated. But yes, you're taking away much of the risk, if not all the risk, of the new service for the airline, and that's why you're enticing them to serve us instead of 10 or 15 or 20 or 40 other routes with that aircraft. Aircraft are expensive. Air crew are even harder to find with the pilot shortage, and so they have to make the choice. What's the best place to deploy this scarce resource? And we want to move ourselves to the head of that line with this grant opportunity.
Does it have to be an airline that already flies to San Francisco, that has the rights to land there?
We've talked Bay Area as opposed to San Francisco. I know San Francisco. I know SFO has got gate limits and things like that at there. The other airports, I don't believe that's true. San Jose or Oakland. There's 3 airports there in the Bay Area, major ones. It probably makes more sense if it's someone that's already flying there and has a presence there, but that doesn't, we don't want to knock out airlines that are looking to expand to the West Coast, let's say, that are already flying somewhere else in the country and want to expand out. The interesting thing about airlines and that whole industry is their business models are, there's a lot of different business models, and there's always kind of smaller airlines starting up and trying to do different things and expand different areas. So it's a very dynamic industry. So we'll see what we get when the time comes when we get that grant.
Now, I know you said that Horizon or Alaska, with all the various divisions of their corporate structure, are already flying here. They might be the one to inherit the flight to San Francisco, but that's not a guarantee.
Correct. Alaska would be a great partner for the direct flight. They've been a great partner with the flight to Seattle, and so we've spoken with them. We will continue to talk with them as we move forward on this project.
And do other airlines or have other airlines come by to kick the tires, take a look, and say, oh, well, actually, I've never landed at EAT. Let's have a look and see what you've got.
We've been in contact with several other airlines that have some level of interest in flying the route as well. So we're excited about that.
It's 1:47. Our very special guests are Craig Larson, Business Development Director for the Port of Chelan and Pangborn Airport, and Tina Stadther, who's also one of the managers in the brain trust that runs the airport. They're our special guests. Aviation Week is coming up this weekend. We'll come back to tell you more about that right after this.
And to 3 p.m. The Agenda with Michael Knight on News Radio 560 KPQ and KPQ.com.
It's 1:52. Let's round it off and say good afternoon to you if you're just joining us. Craig Larson, Business Development Director from the Port of Chelan and the Pangborn Airport, is my special guest. Also, Tina Stadther, also from the Pangborn Airport, is here. Okay, 3 things we have to cover before we go. First of all, I want to send wine to my auntie in Poughkeepsie, New York. Can I send it by a plane?
As long as you go with it, you can check the wine for free.
What's this? Something new?
Yes. Alaska Airlines has a Wines Fly Free program, and you can check up to a case of wine for free without paying the bag fee, as long as you're an Alaska Airlines mileage plan member.
Right.
But it's a very nice perk. We've been trying to get it for a while, and it's now in place. So that's more exciting news this year from Pangborn.
1 case, not 2 cases.
Yeah, well, you got to fly back and see her again.
I know. You
the second time.
Come back and see your auntie.
There you go. And if you bring the wine, she'll invite you. She'll want you to come back. She'll let you stay in her house the second time, too, if you bring wine with you.
There you are on the couch, but you got another case of wine. Now, what are the prerequisites for that?
Alaska Mileage Plan member.
Alaska Mileage Plan. Okay.
Yep.
We had a call from one of our loyal listeners, a wonderful person who said, when are we going to ever have flights, or will we ever have flights from Pangborn to Spokane?
That's a challenging flight because it's relatively short. Our biggest competitor, even now, with flying someplace else besides Washington State, is people getting in their car and driving to SeaTac or Spokane or some other airport. That's probably unlikely the way the industry's set up now that a flight like that would make sense for an airline to have 70-seat aircraft flying back and forth to Spokane. The drive option is just so easy. Most of it's interstate, those sorts of things. So Probably not in the future, at least that we can see at this point.
It would be like high-speed rail or something.
Well, they've talked about a high-speed rail system around the state too. I think
a lot of states have, but nobody's actually building them.
I mean, we spend lots of money on interstates and airports, and then you want to
put up trains so you don't have to take the plane.
That's crazy. Yeah, or drive. It just seems it's you've already got good communication system within the state. So, but airline to Spokane probably is not something in the near future.
It's so obvious because of SeaTac being the hub, our local hub, that you've got to get there to get someplace else. And it's worked for me. But now if I wanted to fly to New York, could I make a flight out of here that would get me closer to New York, or should I just go to Seattle and connect?
Right now, the only flights we have are to Seattle. So you'd go to Seattle and connect. Once we have a San Francisco flight, then you'd have two hubs on the West Coast that you could choose to connect out of to get to New York or Mexico or Hawaii.
And it gives you a chance to play with the numbers, too, to book ahead of time and shop around for a better price.
Shop on price. If you have an airline preference, that also gives you more options. So, San Francisco as an ultimate destination is great. It's also potentially, depending what airport you're into, but you're going to have a lot of connection opportunities there to go to give you just more ways to get where you want to go.
Anywhere in the world.
Correct.
Let's talk about the weekend party that you're going to have. It's called Aviation Day, and it's Saturday, right?
It is, from 9 to 3 on Saturday. It's a free event, and we have a ton of free kids activities. So it's very family-friendly. We've got some of our local aircraft. Of course, the belle of the ball is always Spirit of Wenatchee's Miss Vidal.
Does she fly?
Yes, she does fly.
Excellent.
And she usually flies at least once during Aviation Day to kind of build the momentum. And then Pangborn's own Century Aviation, they have a couple of really cool projects they've been working on. A 1914 flying boat. And then they have a partially finished 1919 Curtiss Jenny. And so they'll have those on display.
Well, let's go back to the boat. Was that used in wartime or something, or what was it about?
Well, you'll have to come up and ask them on Saturday to explain. I've actually visited quite a few times down there, and it's an interesting story.
Because I've seen cars that go in the water, but I haven't seen too many boats that fly. Well, there's the pontoon boats, like the kind that land on the lake.
Right.
So this must be similar to that.
Yeah, we've got a picture of a flying boat up on our Facebook page right now. It's really pretty cool.
Didn't Howard Hughes build one of those too? Yes. Yeah.
Spruce Goose, right?
Yeah. God, what a mind he had. Anyway, so let's talk. What was the second plane you mentioned? You mentioned the flying boat, but there was another exotic.
Yeah, a 1919 Curtiss Jenny that they've been working on. So it's always people's favorite part of Aviation Day to come and see what Century Aviation is working on.
Curtiss made engines, right?
That's a great question.
Or all parts.
Yeah.
Didn't probably Curtiss made bicycles first. Most of those early companies, like the Wright brothers, were bicycle shops.
Bicycle guys who learned how to fly.
Yes.
Yeah, the flying boat is also a Curtiss. So
I'll have to figure out what that meant. Yeah, boats. Curtiss made. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, someone will fill me in on that, and we'll get it right. And then the DC-3 is available for flying upon, right?
Yes,
you can actually get on board.
Yeah, you actually can. It's $295 a person for that, and that can actually be prearranged throughout the rest of the week. How long of a
flight is it for $295?
They say between the briefing and the flight is about an hour.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You've never been in a DC-3. This is your chance to relive your checkered history. Once again, go ahead.
Yeah, no, they've also got some great prizes to give away. $300 to fly in Alaska Airlines. And what are the other ones, Tina?
Well, we've got a kids activity. It's a passport game. And at the end of the day, we've got a really cool Star Wars drone that one lucky kid is going to win. We have
a functioning drone, right?
Yes.
Just don't fly it near the airport.
Yes, just don't fly it near the airport. And we've also got a couple of great pilot prizes for those who choose to display their aircraft. We've got an iPad.
And there might be some more exotic planes flying in for the day, right?
Yeah, you just never really know who's going to show up. It's always interesting.
So when you fly the DC-3, do you know what route they're going to take? I mean, are they going to be buzzing the city all day long? It'd be so cool to see it flying in circles.
I do not know what route they're going to take, but
tell them to come in low over the river so we can see it.
I think that's the plan.
I hope so.
Is for them to be real visible.
It starts at 9 in the morning on Saturday.
Yes, it
Aviation
does.
Day at the Pangborn. I'm sorry we're out of time, ladies and gentlemen, but we got to go. Craig Larson, Business Development Director in the Port of Chelan and the Pangborn Airport. Thanks so much, Craig. Tina Stradler, nice to meet you. We'll see you at Aviation Day, bright and early, Saturday morning at 9.